Hello there, this is DBT, and this is Art of Rooms. And alright, let's continue playing some more Asphalt 8, and today we're gonna be driving this little weird beautiful car, the Renault Dezir. Is it Dezir? Is it Desire? Desire? I have no idea, it sounds like Desire, but it's spelled Dezir, whatever, it's French, I'm gonna pronounce it Dezir. And yeah, I'm gonna drive this thing in classic multiplayer because the season just started, so we get a really good chance to see how it's gonna perform against its natural competition, and if it's a good competitive player, or rather car for the player, you know what I'm saying. Let's get into the races. So as you can see, I'm completely at the very start of the multiplayer season. I haven't done a single race, so yeah, let's see what it can do. I don't know, I have some faith. Now, I have a certain level of affection towards this car because I remember using this quite a bit in my earlier days of Asphalt 8, like 3 years ago when I really started playing seriously this game. I don't exactly remember how I acquired it, probably I bought it for Fusion Coins or something, and it took me a while to upgrade, but man, I do remember that I had heard that this car was absolutely amazing with the nitro, and then I realized that they were talking about the car in its old days of Asphalt 8 balance. Now I'm talking about the first iteration of balance in this game, where cars had absolutely wild stats, and I think this car was one of those that had insane nitro speed, so it was absolutely insane, but I really don't know or don't remember much about those days because back then I wasn't playing seriously. By the time I got to play with this car again, like I mentioned, like 3 years ago, then yeah, it was a good car, but nothing outstanding, and yet I love driving this thing simply because it was a very cool looking car, and even though it's electric, I mean, you know that I like cars that look cool, and while this is very pancakey, very smooth looking, it doesn't have a big wing, it doesn't have a crazy aero. At the time when I was playing, this was one of the crazier looking cars that I could get, because when you compare this to, I don't know, a Dodge Dart, then this looks absolutely alien and it looks pretty dope. Now, as I'm driving it right now, I realize that the nitro, seems to be pretty good. And I'm talking about just in general the nitro duration. Because ever since this car got rebalanced recently, and by recently I mean however many months ago, I think this would be what, like the third balance of this car, whatever. Ever since it got rebalanced and got placed into the 1050 bracket, I really never played with it. In fact, now that I think about it, I probably didn't even pro it when I had it from a few years ago. I probably had it somewhat upgraded but not pro'd out. Because then I found out that once the rebalance happened, this became sort of a basic car, and the beauty about it is that it might cost you a little bit of Fusion Coins to buy, which should be still pretty cheap. You can upgrade this car fully to Pro by just watching ads, which is pretty dope if you ask me. So alright, I got defeated by a Range Rover, but I did beat a Honda Integra Type R, and this one doesn't count because it wasn't boosted at all. Alright, first race, we got a little bit of information as to how the car performs, but oh, that's right, I just ranked up, I guess, to the beginner league. Beginner, amateur, what is it called? Amateur, there you go. Alright, so let's keep this going. And I know that we can have a very large, long discussion about the pay-to-winness of this game and how it has gotten so much more money-hungry and all of that stuff. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about that, but one good change that they made on the game for new players is precisely making cars available that are easy to get, relatively easy. Again, if they're cars that cost like 100,000 or 200,000 Fusion Coins, that means that in 1 or 2 days by just watching ads, they can acquire these cars. And then, excuse me, I got something stuck in my throat. From there onwards, they can pro out the car by just watching ads, which is an advantage that I didn't have when I started playing this game. Like I mentioned, it was about 3 years ago. And upgrading cars was such a pain in the rear. Now, probably not as painful as it was, because by the time I started playing, the system of the color-coded cards had already been applied. The system that we know now with the gray cars for, gray cards for Class D, then we got green for Class C, so on and so forth, right? That at some point that didn't exist in the game, and I think from what I've seen, it was a little bit complicated on how the system worked, whatever. The point is that it was still difficult to upgrade this car because it required a pretty decent amount, and not just this car, because this used to be a Class C car if I remember correctly. But any basic car, if I wanted to upgrade, I needed to invest a lot. Ooh, I'm so sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to knock you down. I was just minding my own business. Sorry, dude. I swear I wasn't trying. But anyway, Class D cars were still a bit of a pain in the rear to upgrade, and nowadays the fact that there's a very good selection of cars that you can pro out by simply watching ads, I mean, there's an argument to be made like, oh my god, this game wants me to watch ads. But yeah, that is the grind of a non-pay-to-win player. So it's watching ads, it's fine. We kind of have to live with that. I beat a Mercedes-Benz Visions EQS, a Mini Cooper, and an RS. Wait a second, is this the one that I knocked down? I'm sorry, buddy, I didn't mean to knock you down, but, you know, it's still a W, so I'll take it. And just from the top of my mind, there's gotta be easily over 10 cars, maybe 15 cars or something that you can upgrade through ads. Now granted, not all of those cars you can acquire easily. Some of those cars are probably rare that, I don't know if they don't show often on the store, I have no idea. But there's definitely a decent amount of cars that you can get quickly, easily, and then you can upgrade for ads. And man, like I was saying, that is already such an incredible deal compared to how things used to be for beginners. Because honestly, I do believe that the game for beginners was very, very difficult. Precisely because, well, you get a couple of cars. Stop pushing me, buddy. You get a couple of cars and you think that you can get into multiplayer and all of that, and you get into multiplayer, you discover that your car that is a stock is gonna perform absolutely horrendous against everything else, which is, you know, that is to be expected. But if a player now has the opportunity to bring product cars, even if at the lowest ranks, though to be fair, there's also a couple of cars, I believe in the bracket of 1230, maybe, no, there's even on 1320, some cars that you can upgrade through ads. I believe that the Countach 25th anniversary is one of them, and that is a very good car. But either way, there's definitely a bunch of cars that players can get, and I believe that there's only Class D. But, I mean, to be fair, new players can still get a ton of fun in Class D. That's all that they know at the start, so that is fine. I do believe my game just froze. Oh, really? Come on, man. I was gonna get a W and the game just froze on me. Thank you, game. I appreciate you for it. Jesus. Okay, so we're back. Jesus Christ. So while that probably didn't alter my number of races that I have done, it definitely is gonna mess me up in my points. It still says that I have the same points, but the reality is that it's still gonna discount to however many once that race gets processed. But oh well, whatever, it's fine. At least it gives me an opportunity to change the color of the car, so let me do just that. Because man, it does have a couple of colors that look pretty dope. So the default one is on red, we got it also on black, which surprisingly looks pretty cool because it's not just full on black, it does have these silvery accents, which in my opinion makes it look a bit more interesting. Then we got it also on blue, yellow, orange. It's an orangey, yellowy red. It's kind of cool. We got it on silver, which in my opinion is one of my favorites. Not my opinion favorite, it's one of my favorites, in my opinion, one of the one that looks the best. Though, by being silver, it does eliminate a little bit the contrast that this adds, but it's still, I think it looks pretty cool. Then we got it on this dual tone, and there is on that. Wait a second, was this a token car? Because normally what I've noticed is that cars that used to be tokens, they tend to have these fancy dual tone colors. Was this a token car? I have no idea. Maybe this wasn't an easy car to acquire back then. Huh. Alright, why don't you let me know in the comments if this is a car that you can get easily nowadays. I don't care about before. Nowadays, is it easy? Is it not? I don't know, but let's keep driving. So, are these... Oh, Jesus, where are my textures? Are these slow cars? Yes, they are. But as I was saying, we all start with the low-class cars, so it makes sense that, well, that's what the beginners are going to start with if they want to jump into multiplayer. And I can hear you say, DBT, but what about boosters? New players don't have boosters. Well, now in TLE, you can get a bunch of boosters by simply participating. I don't remember exactly. I think it's the one for the parts, you know, like the drivetrain cup or whatever cup like that. That you can just get like 30-minute boosters by just participating in the TLE, which is absolutely insane. Again, there's a lot that we can talk about of Game Love doing this game dirty, and oh my god, and this got more pay to win, and oh my god, then this and that, and all of that stuff. But they also have done a lot of moves that I think are very helpful for the new players, and even for non-new players. I mean, getting 30-minute boosters by just doing one TLE, that's pretty good. That means that basically every day you can get a 30-minute boosters, well, a bunch of, or rather, a 30-minute booster of each kind, and that is still pretty dope in my opinion. I think Game Loft overall has been doing some good moves, yeah, some bad moves in my opinion too, but overall it does seem that they're focusing a bit more in the new player experience, precisely so that, well, obviously if a new player downloads the game and, you know, plays a little bit of career and he likes it, but then he's really interested in multiplayer, jumps in with a stock car and he gets absolutely destroyed, well, it makes it shouldn't come as a surprise that that player is gonna be like, screw, oh Jesus, you know, why would I bother, you know? it makes sense that a player would be bothered or annoyed by it and the fact that the cars are not good, and then finally he finds out how to upgrade the cars and realizes that it's gonna take forever because the upgrades are so expensive. So the fact that now you can get cars and upgrade them with ads just like that, even if they're at the beginner ranks, that's perfectly fine because that'll give them a taste of what multiplayer is like, and then maybe they'll be more interested or more they'll be swayed towards, well, maybe I should get into higher ranked multiplayer too. Alright, beat a DS3 Racing, a Range Rover. Oh, this is the one that beat me in the first race, wasn't it? I think it is. Nice. Let's go, Pepe. And by the way, yeah, here's the race counter, just so you see there's no cherry picking. Even if I got a race where the game crashed. Now, to be completely honest, I've been wanting to make some videos on the experience of Asphalt 8 for a completely new player. To show, or not to show because I don't know this for sure because I'm not a new player, obviously, but to experiment and determine if really the experience for a new player is somewhat acceptable. I want to do that, but unfortunately I just don't have the time because I would need to get into watching ads and doing this and doing that, and I already spent enough time. Oh Jesus, I was trying to not knock him down. I already spent a lot of time in this game. You know that I also play Asphalt 9 and also on the Switch. So I already play enough versions of Asphalt in general, so I don't need to get into another one and grind another one to make some progress. Maybe I'll do it if I have the time, but honestly, I wouldn't count on it. But I am really curious to see what is the experience for a completely new player in this game, because I do believe that there's always going to be challenges. I think that now the entry points to this game became much more friendly, and honestly that is a good thing, because the more new players that get into the game, the more, or rather the longer that the game can stay alive. Because yeah, sure, they're gonna be playing in low ranks and whatnot, but let's say from 10 players that started playing this thing, maybe 8 really like the game, and maybe from them 5 will get into multiplayer, or 4, let's say even 4, and eventually maybe from those 4, 2 are gonna like the game so much so that eventually they're gonna want to get into, oh, let me get a Class C car, oh, let me get a Class B and whatnot. So yeah, obviously I just reduced from 10 players to 2, but it's still a good thing, because this thing I'm sure still has a gajillion downloads, and that is why normally you're gonna find a bunch of players in the lower bracket, because this is what people that don't have a ton of experience, that's why you also find a bunch of unboosted players and whatnot, because they're like, oh, let me try the game, let's see what this is about, and they bring whatever. So it makes sense, and that's why I say that this experience, it really should always be a good experience for a new player. In general speaking, mobile games tend to do that very well, where they make it so that the start section of the game, it's easy. You can get a bunch of cars, you can upgrade the cars and whatnot in an easy way, so that it hooks you, and eventually you get invested in the game enough to start, you know, playing it properly, and either paying to win or grinding, whichever way the game wants you to grind. For example, this game being watching ads, in Asphalt 9 being literal grind of tons of races and whatever. The point is that yeah, that tends to be the intended or rather the optimal way of approaching new players, and it seems to me that the game right now is doing a pretty decent job at it. And ooh, beat a Nissan Juke Nismo, and everybody else was unboosted or underranked. So alright, still not learning a lot of the performance of the car, though it seems solid enough. Now this is a track that isn't very welcoming to new players. I mean, it's not super difficult, and especially in lower ranked cars, it's not like it's gonna be a nightmare, but it definitely is gonna present some challenges, because it's a track that it's very visually noisy, and if you don't know where you're going, you can get lost in all of the detail and all the flashy lights and whatnot. So that is why I think a lot of people dislike this track in general. Because yeah, and it's exactly the same case with Terra 9, that they're visually noisy, they're not— oh, you really did? Really did you have to do that? You didn't. The reality is that you didn't, and you— okay, to be fair, he was going for the ramp, so there's a chance he wasn't trying to knock me down, he was just going for the ramp. You know what, I'm gonna— oh, I wanted to take the ramp and I couldn't steer. Alright, I haven't really talked about the performance of the car. The nitro is good, but the car is heavy, it doesn't steer, so keep that in mind if you're gonna drive this thing. But yeah, look at that nitro. And acceleration seems alright. So there you go. That's my in-depth review of the car. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, it's a very visually noisy track. I'm not gonna make a comment on that. You shouldn't make a comment on that. we're all fine. If you want to get a heart and a pin on this video, why don't you leave me the key phrase, which for today it's going to be the Renault Dezir, maybe electric, but it still looks dope. First person to post it gets the heart, the pin, you know how this whole thing works. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to live with a third place, it's fine. If I had won this race, maybe I could have ranked up, but it is what it is, it's fine. Still, I got podium, so I guess that's something though. Probably my other opponents are... oh wait, someone wrecked. I'm too slow though, I'm not gonna be able to catch up to them. Yeah, man. Here I am like, oh, this is not a good track for beginners. And then DBT proceeds to get knocked down and then crash just all on his own. Well done, DBT, well done. But oh well, it's fine. At the end of the day, I just wanted to test this car, and well, I'll tell you, it definitely, like I said, it's a very heavy vehicle, but the nitro is very good, which is a good thing overall, because, man, if it lasts long, it goes fast for long, that's good, right? Whatever. It's fine. I like this car, like I said, it holds a place in my heart, and it's nice to revisit it from time to time, even if it's in one of the slowest brackets in the game. But whatever. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Hit the like button and all of that good stuff. Check these other videos. I think it's about this car in Asphalt 9, and if not, I don't know what it is about, but it's a good video, so check them out. But that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody, and stay safe. Bye-bye.